Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe where we help and heal one day at a time. We're going to look a little bit more into narcissism, a little bit more in depth. We're also going to learn the story of Narcissus. And let me share my screen with you. I got a little PowerPoint for you guys. But the word narcissist comes from a Greek word. It started out with the story of Narcissus, and he was just known for his beauty. He was exceptionally proud, and he looked down upon others who loved him. So he was very self-centered, thought he was absolutely gorgeous. And Nemesis saw this and attracted Narcissus to a pool where he saw his own reflection in the waters, and he fell in love with his own reflection. And he didn't really realize it was merely an image, and unable to leave the beauty of his reflection, he died. He was so into himself that he actually died because he just couldn't walk away. But narcissistic personality disorder is a condition that's characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a need for adoration, extreme self-involvement, lack of empathy for the others. So you can kind of see the different traits in your narcissist. So people with this disorder, usually they're arrogant, self-assured, and they come across as confident. And the word narcissism, it just means self, love, or admiration for oneself. So it's all about them. And like I said, it's from the story in Greek mythology. But there are different causes, and sometimes we try to figure out, are narcissists born or are they created? There's a lot of things in their environment that kind of lead to it. So it's an egocentric behavior, and that is a result of low self-esteem. They have feelings of vulnerability in certain situations. They have a gap between the ideal self, which are standards set by others, whether it was their parents or within them. They feel threatened, which can lead to anxiety, and they need to use some type of defense mechanism to defend their ego. And they have a very fragile ego. So that's why they kind of go above and beyond with the lies and the walking away and the twists and turns that they bring to us. So other things that have affected it when they were growing up, a lot of times, sad to say, but parents can kind of do a doozy on their kids sometimes, even if they mean well. But things can go wrong if you overcompensate, if you overpraise. There's got to be a good balance. So permissive parents who give too much praise to the child results in an unrealistic view of themselves. Also, sometimes in situations, let's say they were the star of every play. So they grow up thinking they're this great actress, well, or actor. They had a really small thing that gave them, where they were the top dog. So they think they're top dog, but they forget there's a whole world out there. So while they might be great in this small pool of 50 kids, when they get out in the real world, they can't let go of that need for the adoration they got, being the best of the best out of 50. So they're craving that all the time. Overindulgence or spoiling by the parents, the kid just feels entitled. That's where that entitlement comes from. If they don't have appropriate discipline or punishment, that's why they break boundaries. They didn't have enough growing up. So they haven't learned how to cope with boundaries. And idealization of the child. So they had this false sense because they were given a false sense. So they feel entitled to have that because that's what they grew up with. So they're always trying to get that back. And society is like, I don't think so. So symptoms, a lot of times they'll think they're better than others. They'll fantasize about power, success, attractiveness, and they often see themselves in a different light, that they're more attractive than they are, or they're more successful, and they'll embellish things, so they'll come across as more successful and more confident, even though inside it's them portraying a false reality. That's where they get all messed up because they don't even know what their reality is, because we're kind of struggling. We don't know what reality was with our narcissist because there's so many lies. And the narcissist is in that like state of confusion too. But they're creating their own state of confusion. They'll believe they're special. Um, and they'll fail to recognize other people's emotions or feelings, because as they were growing up, that overcompensation, they just thought everything was about them. They were the golden child, and they didn't have to think about other people's reactions because they didn't have boundaries, they didn't have punishment, they didn't have this, they didn't have that. And they'll expect others to just go along with their ideas and their plans because they were so used to being catered to as kids. And some other symptoms, they often take advantage of others. They'll have disdain for those who feel inferior. They'll be jealous of others. They'll believe others are jealous of them. They want what other people have. And they also think that everything they have, other people want. Trouble keeping healthy relationships. I'm sure you guys can see that in what you've gone through. They'll set unrealistic goals that, I don't know, let's say they could achieve some award that they have no business achieving, and they just truly believe in it. It's good to set goals, it's good to push the limits, but theirs can be like over the top. They'll easily be hurt and rejected. They, like I said, fragile self-esteem, that's a major one. Even though they appear confident, their self-esteem is really lacking. And they're appearing as they're tough-minded or unemotional. They don't really go through the lovey-dovey kind of bonding type when somebody's in need. It's more for adoration or praise, or to be talked about, like so-and-so did this for me, they're such a good person, to kind of like falsely validate that they're a good person. They do it for the validation instead of really wanting to help somebody. Sometimes they go through a lot of stressors. Sometimes they do need medical treatment. Now we got to remember that narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, doesn't have a cure. Now, this is if somebody is suicidal because they are in a frustration mode. If they can't get that fuel supplied to them, they can become suicidal if they feel they've lost control over everything, because their main thing is they have to stay in control. So sometimes patients who need medical attention, usually those are the ones who are impulsive, self-destructive, or have poor reality perception. Sometimes they'll self-harm, and they'll want you to see it. Other people self-harm and hide it, but they'll most likely let you know, so you can kind of, I don't know, give them attention. It's little temper tantrums. But anytime anybody ever talks about suicide, always make sure that, you know, it's taken care of appropriately, because you never know when somebody's serious or not. So there are suicide hotlines. So sometimes there's an inpatient program that can become available. There's individual psychotherapy, family involvement, constructive work assignments, recreational activities, special living environment inside hospital wards, because sometimes it can get out of hand with them. They can get into drugs or alcohol, self-harm, suicide. And it's really sad. We got to be careful too, because sometimes we get really depressed. Like I said, there's suicide hotlines. Don't get caught up in drugs or alcohol. Just you know, take care of yourself. But some of these are what kind of leads to the diagnosis. Like I said, there's you have to have 5 out of 9 of these. And also the kicker with the diagnosis is it has to affect your life in some way negatively. So if you go through life, you don't lose a job, you don't lose a spouse, your family members are going along with the flow, they won't get a diagnosis. It has to, it's kind of silly. It's like they have it. Why can't you just diagnose it? Why does it have to affect other people? Because if you have chickenpox, you have chickenpox. Does your chickenpox have to affect others? No. So this is where I have a problem with the way they diagnose it. But if your person that you're trying to figure out, if they're narcissistic, they'll often have a large sense of self-importance. They exaggerate achievements, their talents. They expect to be recognized as superior. And they're obsessed with fantasies of success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. And that's where they are obsessed with this ideal love. That's where the love bombing comes in, is they're just, I don't know, creating that fantasy. Like, that would be great, let's create it, but then it's not real, so they don't take care of it. And they believe they're special, unique, can only be understood or should associate with others of high status, people that have class. And this is where it gets a little tricky, because sometimes they are wallowing in self-pity, and that's how they get their attention. But these are some of the different traits. They require excessive attention. And this isn't to be confused with always positive attention. They just want attention. Sometimes it's negative attention. They don't care if it's good or bad attention. They just want to be the center of it. They take advantage of others to achieve their own way. This is a big one. They don't care what the outcome is. They just want what they want. And I think a lot of you already know that narcissists do lack empathy, and they're unwilling to recognize or identify the feelings and needs of others. So being unwilling to recognize, you can recognize it without feeling it, but it's easier to recognize and understand when you can feel it, which is where the empathy is. They can sympathize, but they can't empathize. And so they don't look ahead at how their word patterns or how their actions hurt others. So they're often jealous of others. And like I said, they believe others are jealous of them. And they are arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. And that's how you can tell if your person, if they exhibit any of these, 5 out of 9 of these. So if they have 1 or 2 of them, you know, they might be a selfish person, a little delusional, but to be narcissistic, you need 5 out of 9. That's part of the cluster B personality disorders. So I just thought I'd share the little story of narcissists and a couple facts about them. And please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. See you soon.